I think it needs to be fair, so it needs to be able in some way to be applied to every single child in the class. And I think the other thing is that it needs to be achievable. You can't have a target that says, you know, children must come in and sit down silently every single day because one drop of rain or one drop of snow outside, and they just won't achieve it at all. So I think they're two sort of quite key points when you're making rules to think about.
I think they have to be individual to your class as well. Sort of the rule of you might have a class that are quite quiet, and so the general rule of don't talk too loud in the class might not apply to them, so it's sort of specific to your class.
But there's a couple of children in the class who are really socially dominant in the playground, and we've had quite a few problems with friendships out and things from the playground then coming back into the classroom. So I think it's quite important that children have a strict sort of structure to follow, and that everybody can sort of be included in that, and that they're written in a language that they understand, and that like you say, that they're not too difficult. I mean, we've got one at the moment. I'll be nice to everybody in this class is my friend, and I would be nice to at least one person at least once a day. Now that's quite achievable, and they can do that, and it will be praised when they do it. And then perhaps in a couple of weeks we might rewrite the rules and say, well, actually, if everyone in this class is my friend, I can be nice to everybody at least once a day.
I think it's impossible to have a specific rule which can be used across the board, because like you say, they have to be adaptable to your class and your class needs, because that might not be academic, it might be social. They might be brilliant in the classroom, but they get on the playground and they fight, they can't socialise, they don't have that ability. So I think it's impossible to be specific. You as a teacher have to adapt it to your class, knowing your children.
Yeah, classroom rules have to be based in your classroom and specific to your classroom, because I think they need to be differentiated from general school rules and general health and safety rules that the children might also be exposed to, but they need to be something that they're involved in and something which they can
sort of getting them involved with maybe when they think the rules should be changed. Sort of, I don't know, something like that might be good at sort of helping them.
Keeping them quite short as well, so that if you say to the children, you know, like, what's one of our 30 class rules, they're like, but if you said to them, right, what's one of the 5 things that we all try really hard to make this class really, really nice, who can name one of those 5 things, so that they can they don't need to be able to read it off the wall if their reading level isn't that good, or they don't have to write it out if their writing level isn't that good. They're short and sharp enough for them to actually know and understand and be able to talk about.
They have to know how to achieve the rule as well. So you might say be nice to someone, but I think you need to have the discussion about how you be nice to someone and why you should be nice to somebody.
Definitely.
And why you shouldn't be horrible to someone, and this type of behaviour as well. So they have to understand what they need to do to achieve that rule.
Yeah.
I think a consequence for abiding by the rule as well, like, you should abide by this rule because it'll make everyone happier, or it'll help you to learn things, rather than it's a rule, you must obey it.
Yeah, just stating this is a rule, you must follow it.
You know, just setting it out. Also, you can reflect on the classroom rules in circle time. So like you could say, do you think you've been nice to people this week? You know, do you think you've taken it in turns listening? And then in circle time they can discuss it, because they normally have it like circle time is like secret and private time, it doesn't go beyond the classroom. So then if they have been naughty that week, they won't feel like everyone's going to go rush out and tell their mum and dad. So that's a way you can reflect on the rules.
We had a lecture a few weeks ago, and it showed like cans, and they were like half full. So say it was playing in the playground or something, and then you could show how if they were meeting these rules, if that was a rule, playing in the playground, you could show their progression by filling up the can and showing it.
It was the teacher's perception, wasn't it, of how well they think the class did,
and the class's perception as well, compared, so you could see if they felt that they were doing what they needed to be doing as well.
And it was I think for one of them sort of being nice to each other or something like that, the teacher would put them at sort of a 4 out of 10 and the class thought they were maybe a 6 or a 7 out of 10. And it's just getting them to focus on what the teacher means by the rule and what the class mean by the rule.